and then what is our role and how do we overcome in it?
Yes. Yeah.
So what's the next episode going to be?
So the next episode is going to be focusing on these chapters along with Daniel 10, which I didn't bring up. But Daniel 10 talks about how he's praying, and he's been praying and fasting, and this angel couldn't get to him because the Prince of Persia held him up.
Now, before that, I think I thought in our outline there you were going to go to Egypt and some other things.
Yes. Yeah, there's a whole lot of things that we can get to, but it's all trying to, at the beginning, understand how in the world these beings can have anything to do with what's going on Earth. Right? And so in Daniel 10, he says, the prince, so this is 10 verse 13, the prince of the kingdom of Persia withheld me 21 days, but Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, for I was left there with the king of Persia, and came to make you understand what is to happen to your people in latter days, for the vision is for days yet to come. Mm-hmm. And so, of course, there are scholars that try to say, well, this was just a regular man who somehow was fighting the Prince of Persia, whoever that is. And then Michael, whoever a chief prince is, came and fought. That's really hard to make human.
Yeah.
So then we're going to see Michael later on. He's going to fight with Satan over Moses' body. So we're going to understand that Michael is an angelic being, one of these Elohim. And Daniel then has a run-in with an angel who needed help from one of these Elohim against another Elohim. And it becomes a really interesting thing. So what that maybe tells us is not all 70 Elohim were evil, or Michael isn't one of them. We're not really sure.
70 Elohim. All right, we're talking about the 70 over the nations, right?
Yeah.
Now, the 70 over the nations, Israel didn't exist yet as a nation.
Right.
So I don't know if Michael was one of those 70.
Well, so Israel would be 71 because Yahweh is the one that's over them. So the Most High takes over so he becomes the 71st. So now Michael is either one of the 70 or he's outside the 70.
Yeah. Okay.
And so these are things in which, we're going to jump head on into and try to figure out. And like you alluded to, we're going to look at Egypt. There's a whole lot of steps. There's a lot going on, but if you search it all the way out and you look all the way out, there is enough biblical reference there to get a decent understanding of what's going on. Because we didn't talk about Job either.
Right.
Where Satan stands in the council and talks to God.
That might be a good one to demonstrate to people that don't know about the divine council that it is a real thing, and that it's in the Bible.
Yeah, let's go Job.
Job 1:6 and 2:6.
Says, now there was a day when the sons of God, that's an interesting phrase, right?
Yep.
Have we heard that one before? Came to present themselves before Yahweh, the Most High. And Satan also came among them. So Satan either is one of the sons of God or isn't, because it says he came among them. So, you can infer either way. And it says, Yahweh said to Satan, from where have you come? And Satan answered Yahweh and said, from going to and fro on the earth and from walking up and down on it. And Yahweh said to Satan, have you considered my servant Job, that there is none like him on the earth, a blameless and upright man who fears God and turns away from evil? And so now here, Yahweh calls himself Elohim.
Yeah.
And then Satan begins to say, well, he doesn't fear you for no reason. It's because you gave him this perfect life, and goes on into that. So, but here we see a perfect example of the counsel the sons of God meeting with the Most High.
Right.
So anyway, man, this is going to be really fun to get into. And it's going to be really helpful for those people that have read the Bible for a long time, who have tried to live the Christian life and just really didn't understand what was going on.
Yeah.
This will really help you understand, why do I study the Bible so intently? Why do I spend time in prayer? Why do I clothe myself in the armor of God? Why do I do these things? And the reason why is because I'm meant to be a warrior in this spiritual battle.
Right.
Otherwise, I become a pawn, an unwitting pawn, like Eve. Eve became an unwitting pawn.
And Job was too.
And Job was too.
But Job had a good outcome.
Yeah.
The war that began in Eden didn't end there. From the serpent's whisper to the rise of corrupt powers, the Bible shows us that humanity has always been caught in the crossfire. But here's the hope. God has never left his people without a plan, and he calls us to stand on his side of the battle. In our next episode, we'll look at Daniel chapter 10 and pull back the curtain on the powers behind the nations. What Daniel saw then still explains the conflicts of today. Subscribe now to our free newsletter at endtimedisciples.com. That way you won't miss what God is revealing about the war we're still living in.